Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Team Next Generation Team Call Wednesday, February 22nd. Again, I appreciate you guys all for showing up, taking the time out of your busy schedules to check this out and to be here on this call. Tonight, we're going to spend a little time in, this is kind of geared towards newer coaches. With that said, it's not by any means for only new coaches. There's a lot of this stuff that I'm still working on, that Deanna and I both still work on, that really transcends the idea of just a new coach. So it really is for everybody, but I want the new coaches especially to kind of try to learn this sooner than later, because we've kind of figured it out over time, failing numerous times. And so as much as we can kind of hit on this stuff and give you what has not worked for us, I think it's beneficial to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here with you, and I'm going to pull up a little PowerPoint thing that Deanna has been so kind to make for me, since I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So give me 1 second here. Okay, and share. Alrighty, and let me go here. Can you guys, let's see, give me a second here, and alrighty. Okay. And Nicole, can you do me a real quick favor? Can you unmute yourself and just tell me if you can see this?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Top 10 mistakes.
Perfect. All right, folks. So here are the top 10 mistakes that Beachbody coaches make. And these are mistakes that we all make. Like I said, we make them still in some cases today, but we see it a lot. So we wanted to kind of walk you through a few of these things. A few of them are going to seem kind of obvious. But with that said, I really want you to pay attention, because even the obvious things aren't always as obvious as they may seem. So first of all, social media is massive. Guys, social media is obviously the backbone of what we do, right? The way that people know who we are and what we have to offer them is through social media. It's the beauty of this business. It's what allows us to touch so many more lives than just those that are physically around us. Right? It's the reason that this is such an incredible tool and an incredible opportunity for us as business builders, as well as just people that want to impact everybody, or as many people as possible. The thing is, a lot of times, the minute we become coaches, we immediately become billboards for Beachbody. And that isn't what really kind of resonates, or what people relate to. People do not relate to, guys, let me just start this by this. People do not relate to billboards. Billboards are for sales. And one of the things that we love so much about coaching is that it doesn't have to be about sales, and it isn't about sales. It's truly about pouring your heart and pouring your energy into changing lives, right? So the second we jump online and start posting stuff that looks more like, hey, check out this program. This is what I'm doing right now. It's on sale. Hey, check out, not this, but Shakeology right here, As soon as it starts coming up that's what people see, immediately people start to shut that off. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when Beachbody was in its, or when the team Beachbody was in its infancy, and as social media started to kind of grow, that stuff may have worked a little bit more so for people. Even a few years ago, even 5 or 6 years ago, when there wasn't as much kind of talk about coaching and people didn't really know about coaching, that stuff might have gotten a little bit more traction. But nowadays, and especially over the past year and a half, people are so inundated with coaches in their feed. There are so many other people out there that are also coaches that people are starting to kind of, even more so, aside from the sales aspect, that people are just starting to turn off on the keywords, on the Shakeology, Beachbody, this program, look at me, this is what I'm doing, join this Beachbody thing, right? Like, people are kind of starting to just fish past that because they see so much of it. So we have to recognize that that's on people's feed all the time. And our job isn't to talk about, like, we are not Beachbody, okay? We are people who have utilized these products to change our own lives. We're not defined by Beachbody as a company. Beachbody is a vessel for us that allows us to help other people and to change other people's lives in the same way that it has changed and impact our lives. But with that said, we are the people that we are. We are everything about us. We are not solely Beachbody. So when we start really branding Beachbody on social media, that's when everything kind of starts to shift in the wrong direction. What we brand, truly, what we should be branding is ourselves, right? There was actually a study done a long time ago, and it showed that historically speaking, the people in history that were the most successful were those who learned how to tell their story the best, right? The storytellers were the ones who were really, truly successful at everything. And that's what we're here to do. We share our stories. We share what works for us, what hasn't worked. We share when we struggle. We share authentically. We share honestly. And through doing that, that allows us to touch people, right? To impact people. And when we can impact people, touch them and open them up and let them see who we truly are, they're more open to listening to what we have to say. There's a great saying that always says, no one cares what you know until they know you care, right? It's exactly that. So that's what we're doing when we're talking about this aspect, right? Not this, but the one, not the one with the red X in it, right? But the idea of sharing us, sharing our journey, being authentic, not being a billboard, but instead being honest people that it just so happens this has been our vessel, right? And so we're sharing that story. If we get good at sharing that story and being honest to that, that's when everything changes. And I'm not going to pretend like this is, if you saw our first post, Deanna, my first post when we first started coaching, then not this, that's exactly what it was. Like, that's what everybody's, or most every new coaches starts with, because they don't really know where to go. And it's our job as their coach or as your coach or as mentors to help you understand that that's really not the most effective way. It isn't until you do what you see on this. It isn't until you get to that stuff, and you do that a lot. You're sharing your story a ton, and you're sharing it consistently, and you're showing up day after day after day after day. It takes a while for even that to really pull traction and for people to start paying attention. So even though this, quote unquote, is the correct thing to do, we also have to understand that that is not, hey, look, I posted that, and now everybody's gonna come out of the woodworks because I did that one post, and they're just gonna shine on this, right? It takes a lot of that. It takes a lot of that, dropping that little hint, telling that little bit of story. So remember, we're not a billboard for Beachbody. We are our own people who utilize Beachbody tools as a vessel for us to get to change our lives and to help other people change their lives. The number two thing that people do, and this is true to all of us, like I said before, guys, it's something we all do. We lead with our own agenda instead of listening to people's goals, right? So really what that looks like is a couple things. One, we have a tendency to lead with what we want. We assume that our goals are other people's goals, right? Everybody has the same goals. If I want to gain muscle, everybody wants to gain muscle. They all want to look a certain way. It's not true, right? We don't know what somebody wants until we ask them what they want, right? We have no idea. There's a bigger aspect to this though. If you're really looking to change, like it says, if you're really looking to change your bank account, right? If you're really looking to grow your business, the way you grow your business is to focus on changing other people's lives. So what you're doing is you're focusing on adding value to people's lives, however, whenever you can, regardless of that income return, right? So what that looks like is, I'm not trying to sell you a product. My goal with the conversation, my goal with asking you questions is not to sell you a specific challenge pack, because to be honest, until I get the answers to those questions, I don't know what challenge pack is going to function for you, right? I don't know what you're looking to do. I don't know if a challenge pack is going to function for you. I'll be the first one to say, guys, I know there's a lot of coaches out there, and so you're going to hear different things from different people. But I know there's a lot of coaches out there that flat out won't let people in a challenge group unless they bought Shakeology, unless they bought a challenge pack. There's a lot of them that say, you're insane if you're not only selling challenge packs. I agree with that in many respects. I do agree that more often than not, the people that buy challenge packs and actually drink Shakeology and go through the whole system, it is a system, they tend to get better results. They feel better. They recognize the impact that Shakeology has on them. They're because of the price points even, they're more attached to the process, right? They're more invested. So there's a lot more things going on. They just tend to get better results. But with that said, our goal may be to get Success Club points. Their goal may be to just get started and they can't afford this or they don't have time or whatever it looks like. Recognizing that those are typically just a lack of value, and once you explain the value, then they understand. But in those cases where people, hey, I've already got a program and I really just need the help, okay, you meet them where they're at, right? And you recognize that your goal is to get them results. When their goals become your goals, things start to happen. Can't tell you how many times we plugged somebody in one of our groups that never bought a thing from us. Our goal was just to help them utilize the program they already had, right? They bought 21-day fix on Craigslist or whatever it is. But the second we did that and plugged them into a group and started really focusing on just helping them, right, regardless if they bought anything from us or not, just really helping them, things shifted. And many times those people become great coaches too, because they recognize it isn't just about trying to sell something and just trying to put your own agenda into the situation. It is more about trying to help people and trying to change their lives. So make sure that we're asking questions and we recognize that we're looking for what is really truly their goal and figuring out how can we best help them to achieve their goal, not our goals. The biggest thing, well, and this is number 3, but I think one of the biggest thing that kind of steps people back originally in the idea of coaching and starts to mold them as they begin coaching is the idea of fear. This is something that I struggled with a lot when I first started coaching. I didn't want to tell, I'm a hairstylist by trade. I've been doing it for 20 years. I had built a clientele. And when I first started coaching, the last thing I wanted to do was tell any of my clients about coaching, right? And my fear was this: if I tell my clients, and if I talk about coaching or talking about Shakeology or challenge packs or Beachbody at all, they're going to think I'm trying to sell them something. They're not going to be happy with it, and I'm going to lose clients. And guess what? Beachbody wasn't at a place where it was paying the bills yet. I just started, right? So I'm like, I need this business, hairstyling, to pay my bills. I'm scared of what people are going to think and how they're going to react. And I don't know how to introduce that into the salon. So I'm going to separate these two businesses and I'm just going to focus over here. And then on top of that, you look like, I was embarrassed to talk to friends about it. Some of my closest friends, I never invited them. I didn't invite them for years because I was just scared of what they were going to say. But here's the realization. And this comes over years of doing this, or a couple of years of doing this and really kind of talking to a lot of people. First of all, more often than not, the people that you think are going to just look at you like you're insane when you invite them, and they're going to think you're just a total idiot and I can't believe you would invite me to an accountability group. Most of those people say yes. Most of those are the people that are like, yeah, of course. We'll tell you 1,000 times, and we'll tell you 1,000 times after we're done telling you 1,000 times. That is what happens more often than not. It is not our place or our right to choose what people are going to think for them. It's not fair. We have an incredible solution that each and every one of us has found a solution in. We found value in it ourselves, or we wouldn't be coaching, right? These programs, this system has worked for us, or we wouldn't be here right now. So it's not our place to decide for somebody else what they're going to think, or if it's a solution for them, because they're the only ones that get to decide that, right? So you can't hold all of your potential success in the framework that, man, I don't want to tell anybody what I'm going to do. I don't want to try to post this because people are going to think this. You're going to get people that are going to think you're weird. It just is what it is, right? You're going to get people that are going to, potentially even talk crap on your posts or hate on you at some point. The fact of the matter is, the bigger your goals, the more things are going to show up to work against you. The more turmoil that's going to stand in front of you to get to those goals. That's just a fact and the way it all functions. And that's the way, unfortunately, not just coaching, but life in general works, right? Big goals come with big risk, and it is what it is. The fact of the matter is, more often than not, you're going to put that post out there that's that kind of vulnerable post. Let me just step this back a second. Do you know, if I could show you right now, I've got you on this screen, but if I could go in and show you even my Facebook feed or Deanna's Facebook feed, and you look back over the past maybe 2 weeks, right? And you see the posts where we get open and we're honest and we share something that's a little bit vulnerable to us, right? And we share that kind of icky thing that's a little bit scary that you may get judged for. You look at those posts, hands down, not even close. We get more traction and more, kind of like, not just comments of answering a question, but comments of like, thank you so much. I needed to hear that. Man, I really feel where you're coming from. So much more real, true, honest, kind of raw interaction in those posts. Then you look at the post where we're like, saying something about our workout, right? And it's just really basic, and it's just, talking about, hey, I worked back today, da-da-da. You get almost, well, I'm not gonna say you get no, but you get very little in comparison traction on that. And you'll see those even in ours. And we've been doing it for, going on in the middle of 3 years here. Do you want to jump on your computer? Or just because this is screen share, so I don't know. Gianna's back, so she's going to jump on and join us as well. So, but that's, you're going to see a lot more interaction on those. So every time you think something's scary, you've got to recognize that even if you put it out there, even if you don't get a ton of interaction on it, even if you don't get a ton of likes, you don't know who you're quietly inspiring in the background. You don't know that person that read your post that just isn't a person that likes a lot of stuff, right? Likes. You don't know that person that may have been struggling with something that day, and that was the one thing that they absolutely needed to hear that changed their lives. Guys, I know this might sound insane to you, and it might sound ridiculous, and you might be thinking there's no way this is true, but I'm telling you right now, you could literally change the trajectory of one person's life, or maybe many lives, just by one post that you make that you think, man, what if my friend judges me for this? But you could have saved a life from doing that. I know that might seem like that's pretty dramatic. It is, because it can happen, and it absolutely is dramatic. So recognize the power you have and the fact that we don't really, this is what we sign up for, right? We sign up to impact lives. That's how we impact lives. We start by the inspiration. We start by taking on the challenge that we're expecting and asking others to take on, right? That challenge is stepping outside of our comfort zone. So this is such an important aspect to what we do. It's not worth it to be worried about what people think, right? Or be concerned, because more often than not, the people you think that are going to make fun of you are going to support you. And the ones that don't support you, they're not worth having around anyway, because there's something up with them. That's their own issue. You ignore that and you stick to the 5 people that actually have your back, that really truly want to see you succeed, that are on the same page. Those are the people that we focus our time with. The next big thing is, you guys are going to love this. So a lot of people they expect that their upline coach is going to give them permission to start, right? People are afraid to fail in this business. And I'm telling you right now, failure is the path to success. That's all there is to it. That is how we function. If you want to be successful as a coach, you're going to fail a lot. That's amazing. We live in a community, right? We work in a community where failure is one of the best things that we can do, because as long as we're taking keys from that failure, as long as we're learning things and we're trying new things and we're allowing ourselves the permission to fail, we are in turn not failing. We're succeeding because we're growing, we're moving forward. We're building something. But the second we start getting kind of our hands tied in the idea that, well, what if I fail at this? It's something I struggle with miserably. I hate having people watch me learn something, because I don't want to fail in front of people, right? That's one of the scariest things about this is, oh my gosh, what if I don't succeed at this in general? What if people see me fail? And then over time, you recognize that I can't tell you how many times Dion and I have failed. I failed miserably today. I failed yesterday. I'll fail tomorrow, and I'll fail 100 times next week. That just is what it is. But the fact of the matter is, you can't expect success in this without failing, and you can't expect success in this without putting in some effort, right? This is not always an easy business. It's a very simple business. The process that we go through is not complicated. That's what the beauty of it is. However, it's not always easy because of those fear angles, that fear of what your friends are going to think, the fear of failure, the fear of getting started, right? The uncomfortable idea of actually, how do you fail forward, right? If you'll notice below, we've got some traits of people that with an employee versus an employer or an owner's mentality. There are very big differences between this. And the thing that we really have to recognize is, even if you're doing this coaching purely as just the idea that I want to help people, you still, regardless of your wants or your goals or your desires, no matter any way you slice it, you are now a business owner. Your business is helping a few people, 1 person, 100 people, 1,000,000 people. Regardless of what it is, you're still a business owner. So we have to step in to that mindset and start looking at this like a business. The second that we start looking at it as employees, right? Like my coach, our upline, Beachbody is my employer, right? Then we stop taking accountability for what we're doing, right? We do stuff like, hey, I'm working for a paycheck, right? That's all I'm here for. I'm only going to do what I have to do. I'm not going to do any more because I don't want to be too ambitious about it, right? Like that's the whole idea of like, Beachbody, oh, they're lucky to have me here. I'm helping everybody out, and really, I don't really need to do that much. You know what I mean? Like, my coach really is there. They're there for me, but they're there to take care of me. Like, anything I need, that's their job. Their job is to help me. The same way that my job is to help some of the challengers, well, their job is to help me do whatever I need to do, right? And then I'm only going to do what you tell me to do. I don't want to go above and beyond. So, hey, you told me to invite 3 people. I'm not busy yet. So clearly I invited 3 people and I didn't hear back. So, you're failing. That's just not how it works, right? We give you guides to help you, but you have to do the work yourself. Just like we have to do the work. Nobody's working, Deanna, on my business. Our upline is not working it. Jesse's not working, she's not working anybody else's. Everybody's working their own, right? This is yours. That's the beauty of it. You also get to work this the way you want to work this. We're just here to give you a roadmap, but you've got to take forth the effort to be on that trail, right? So if you're looking at it more of like a business owner standpoint, then you're looking at the bigger picture. You're understanding that, hey, you might not see, like in coaching, I think it was hard for us to even understand. You might not see immediate results in terms of, finances, right? Like, you might not make $1 million tomorrow. Guess what? None of us wanted a get rich quick scheme. So there you go. It's not. You're welcome. That's the fact of the matter. That's one of the reasons that we trust in this business, because it isn't something that comes that quickly, goes that quickly. This is going to take that time of being consistent to really start building, just like any business. The difference between this and any other business is the fact that the overhead is almost null and void in this, basically, because you're buying a meal. So you basically have no overhead. So there's no real risk as opposed to any other brick and mortar where you have a ton of risk, a ton of concern, and you better win it, right? So that's one of the beautiful things about the way we do this. Another thing, another way of kind of looking at it from a business owner mentality is the idea that, Beachbody doesn't, thank God for Beachbody that I'm here, right? It's understanding that you are blessed to be a part of something that has given you this opportunity, as long as you do something with it, right? It really is a lack of the whole idea of entitlement. It is not anybody else's job to make you successful. And I know that, like, a lot of this kind of stuff, this particular slide is a little bit of the tough love thing, but it's true. I think people need to understand that. They really need to hear that you are responsible for what you do. We are there, and when I say me, I'm pointing to me, and I'm speaking, Deanna and myself, but your coach is there. Your coach's coach is there. You are there for your team. You are there to be, we are here to be guidance for you. We are here to be help for you. It's just like challenge groups, right? We are there to give people the tools necessary to get great results. We're there to show up and lead from the front line and do what we're asking them to do. We are there to help them along the way, to answer the questions they have, to support them during the struggles, right? We're there to do everything we can to support them as well as we can. But we are not there to work out for them or to eat for them. We can't do that, right? They need to put that work in for themselves. And if they don't, they are going to see the results that they're going to get from not putting the work in, right? It's not our fault. It's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault other than the person that has the responsibility of putting in the work. It's their fault. And the great thing is they also have control. If they're successful, it's their fault, right? Like, when they bust their butt and they just crush it, every pound they lost, every pound they gained, muscle, whatever, however they changed, every win that they had, that was their fault. They were able to create that win, right? We're just there to support them. They're the ones doing all the work. So it's an equal on the side of, hey, that's amazing and you get this accomplishment. At the same time, hey, if they didn't do it, it's not your fault that that didn't happen for them. They didn't put in the work, right? So that's kind of where this comes from. And I think people, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think you guys get the picture, right? So just understand that there's got to be accountability for what you're doing. The bigger you want it to be, the more people you want to help, well, then you've got to put in the work to help those people. We have to expect that. Another big thing is time management. This goes for everybody, and Deanna will even tell you about this more than recently. So this isn't something that most people just learn very quickly, but it is really easy to get sucked into the Facebook scroll. This is like the worst thing you can do. You will spend all day on Facebook and feel like, man, I worked all day. You did not work all day. you spent all day on Facebook scrolling, looking for little information, looking for stuff that really had nothing to do with what you need to do to actually help more people, right? Scrolling through Facebook and just seeing what people are doing, that's watching the cat video, which I do all the time, the dog video, the video of the baby playing, whatever it is, doing all that stuff, that's fun. That is not our job. That is not how we help people. How we help people are very specific actions, which we'll get into later. But those are the things that we need to do. Time management is exceptionally important. We all got into this to help people, but one of the incredible things about it is the fact that it allows us the opportunity to do something, to provide a life for ourselves where we can actually live a life, right? There's a huge difference between working so that you can live and living to work, right? If you're just living to work, that means that you're just waking up and you're just spending all day and all I got to do is I got to pay the bills, man. So I just got to go to work and I just got to work all day, right? That's not living life, unfortunately. So many people, the vast majority of Americans fall into that category. We have the ability to not have to do that. We have an opportunity that allows us to be able to put in efficient work and then spend the day living our lives and actually enjoying what we have. That's the incredible thing. So don't get lost in the realm of wasting time. Be efficient. Do the job in the hour or the 2 hours or whatever it is, and then turn it off and move on to actually enjoying the reason that you started doing this stuff in the first place. Another big thing is overthinking things. It is going to be very easy to start trying to create a post, and I'm definitely guilty of this. Start trying to create a post, and you'll spend an hour just trying to make that post perfect, right? Oh, but I gotta redo this. I gotta take this photo and put this photo in a doctor and start, like really doing this. And the next thing you know, legitimately 45 minutes later, you've created one post, right? Again, that wasn't work. That's fun. That's the kind of crap I do in the morning. Like I'll spend there forever. I've got to tell myself, stop it. Stop doctoring the damn photo. Just make a post, right? It's really easy. It is not about being perfect. In fact, this is one of the incredible things about coaching as well. Everything that we do that's perfect is just about the worst thing we can do. Because when people are watching you online, when people are considering the idea of maybe doing what we do and trying to help other people, right? Or doing a program, just starting with you in health and fitness, the one thing that they're thinking in their head is, can I do this? Am I capable of doing this? And if what you're conveying is 100% perfection all the time, nobody's going to be able to relate to that. They're going to think, I can't do this because I'm not perfect. Well, guess what? Neither are we. None of us are perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. I can't tell you how often, and I don't do this on purpose, I mix up your and your apostrophe RE. I do that all the time. My phone does it, and like people blast me on it. They're like, you just wrote this long post that I think is amazing, and it's so perfectly worded, and yay. And then someone's like, by the way, your grammar sucks. I'm like, oh man, I feel like an idiot, right? It's okay though, because it's still relatable, right? Like people are going to look at it and go, hey, yeah, if he can not even spell and he can be a coach, well, then I probably can. But if everything you do is absolutely perfect all the time, it's going to be, nobody's going to be able to relate to it. But on top of that, it's just going to suck your time. You're going to get stressed out. You're going to get worried that it's not perfect, right? And then when it's not perfect, you're going to get frustrated. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be perfect, and recognize that the fact that it isn't perfect is what makes it perfect. And I don't know why I did that, because that wasn't really that impressive, but you get my point. 7, lead with the facts instead of passion and stories. That is a big issue with people, right? People aren't relating to facts when you share them. They're relating to your passion. They're relating to the story. When you're talking about Shakeology, riddling off every superfood and every nutrient that's in it and everything that it does from a fact perspective is not nearly engaging, if engaging at all, as it is to say, look, this is what I thought about Shakeology. This is how it's impacting my life. This is what I learned now. This is how it has changed me, right? Dion always shares that she poops now. Okay, pooping isn't a scientific fact about Shakeology. Well, maybe it is, but it's not sharing like, hey, look, this ingredient and this ingredient and this ingredient yields me being able to poop every day. It's not that. What it is it's her sharing something that people struggle with and something that she struggled with. And therefore, it's part of that story. That passion behind that story is what people relate to, right? It goes, all of this stuff kind of is a big circle if you think about it. It's the whole idea of don't be perfect. We're not perfect. Don't worry about being perfect, right? You're leading with the passion and understanding that, hey, you know what? this isn't about me telling you facts. This is about me sharing a story. So understand that feeling, telling your story, that passion, those kinds of things, that's what resonates with people. Just telling you facts doesn't resonate. Okay. This we see a lot. Man, if I only had good before and afters. You know what? People do not need to see before and afters that are ridiculously incredible for them to be attracted to you or your story. That's just 100% false. I don't have a massive transformation for my story. That's okay, because what you're telling is a story. Just because your photo, some people might look at, let's imagine for a second that you lost 300 pounds using 21-day fix, right? Some people are going to look at that and go, wow, that's incredible. That's very inspiring. And it is. It's an amazing accomplishment. But some people out there are going to go, hey, I don't think I can do that. That's just not, that doesn't relate to me. I can't do it, right? That's not the point of what we're doing. We're back to the idea of we're telling a story. Hey, maybe you only lost 5 pounds. Great, you only lost 5 pounds, but maybe that 5 pounds was 5 pounds you couldn't lose before. You couldn't figure out a way to lose it before. You'd worked on that damn 5 pounds for 10 years, and for whatever reason, it wasn't happening. But now, finally, you found something that helped you, and you lost that last 5 pounds. Is it a massive transformation? Not physically, right? But what it's done for you emotionally, what it's done for you mentally, what it's done for every other aspect of your life. Hey, we might have massive transformations just in our health, right? The fact that, back to poop, the fact that Deanna poops every, that's a healthy thing. That's a great thing. That's something that is supposed to happen with all of us, right? That's a massive transformation. It's not a transformation physically in terms of appearance, but it's a transformation in health. It's an absolute, oh my gosh, I feel different. That resonates with people. So don't wait to have some perfect before and after. Again, it isn't about that. It's about the journey that you're on. It's about moving forward. Sometimes an incredible before and after is recognizing that, hey, I'm going to take this photo now and then take a photo 4 weeks later and realize, you know what, my nutrition sucked and I actually went backwards. I gained weight. I gained 5 pounds. That's a great before and after, because you show this is what didn't work. I did my program. I worked out. I busted my butt every single day, but my nutrition sucked. I did not stay on point. And guess what happened? Didn't work for me. So I've learned something here. I'm going to start staying on track as well as I can, because I figured out where the results come from. Those things are what we strive for. We don't strive for massive, differences. We don't have to wait till we're at our end date. We should never hit an end date. If we hit a goal, our end goal, this is perfect, then we need to figure out that our goal needs to change, because we should always be trying to improve ourselves and work on ourselves. And I'm not saying going for a certain look. I'm saying just as people, we need to be growing. We need to be changing. We need to be keeping ourselves a little bit uncomfortable so that we can grow more, right? Then we're never going to be perfect. We've already talked about that. So we'll never really have that end of the after photo, if you will. It's always a before and current photo, if that makes sense. Okay, back to those time management aspects, right? People do this all the time. You skip the vital behaviors, and then you wonder why things aren't going your way. Like, why is this not working? These are things that are vital because they're vital, right? The word vital was not by accident. It was absolutely on purpose. These things are vital to your business growing. If you want to help people, it's vital that you do this every day consistently. Excuse me. There's actually 4 now, recognition being one as well, which is also vital, I think, especially in our challenge groups, which Deanna and I are trying to get more into. We've struggled with that a little bit. I don't think, honestly, that we recognize people nearly enough, and that's a lot of my fault. I should be doing that a lot more, especially in the groups. But it is something that's very important. But, number one, we absolutely need to invite people. If we're not inviting people, people don't know that we've got anything that they can do, right? If they just see us online and we're just posting, but we never actually reach out, there's a thought that says, with new coaches, they think, and I might actually talk about this in the next slide, but there's a thought that people have that says, if I just post this, then people are just going to come to me. And, that's it. Everyone's just going to, the minute they find out that I'm a coach, they're just going to come out of the woodworks and they're just going to start asking me for help. And that's just not true. That's just not the way this works. It just isn't. We have to reach out to them. There are so many people out there that want help, need help, right? Would die to have your help, but they just don't want to ask because it's embarrassing to them. I don't like asking for help. I don't honestly think that I would ever have reached out to somebody and said, hey, I need to, I've been really struggling over the past 16 years to get as lean as I want to get. I need your help. What are you doing? I wouldn't have done that. It just wouldn't have happened. The only reason I started doing these programs is because Deanna asked me to. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it because it would be embarrassing to me to have to ask for help, right? I'm not alone. There's a lot of people out there that feel like that. If we don't invite people and let them know, hey, I'm here. I've got this great group. I would love to have you a part of it. Man, I'm struggling and I need all the accountability I can get too. And I figured we could work on this together. How does that sound to you? If we're not out there inviting people, they don't know that there's an option. And even if they do, they're probably not gonna reach out to us anyway. So we have to be the ones that take that uncomfortable step, because at the end of the day, when we signed up, every single one of you I know is just like us. We decided, hey, we want to change people's lives. We want to help them. We don't get to choose who we get to help, right? It's not fair to us to say, well, I only want to help the people that are willing to reach out to me. That's not fair. What about those people that are too scared to reach out, right? Or don't know to reach out? They deserve help just as much as we do or anybody else does. So now it's on us to actually take that step, get a little bit more uncomfortable, and reach out to them. It's absolutely vital. Another vital part of this all is just being a proof the product works. This is what separates us from having to sell things, right? The fact that we're showing up, we're being honest. I'm not telling you to do anything like as a challenger, right? If we're talking about health and fitness, I'm not telling you to do anything that I'm not going to do myself. I'm going to show up and do my workouts. I'm going to eat as well as I can. I'm going to follow that nutrition plan. I'm going to drink my Shakeology every day because it damn well makes me feel different and it makes me healthier. And I know I've seen a change in myself, which I've never seen from anything else. I'm going to do all the things that I'm asking of you because I need to lead from the front line. But I also need people to understand that I'm doing this because it works, right? I tell people all the time, I am not I don't recommend Beachbody products because I'm a coach. I'm a coach because I swear by the products because they've changed my life so much. Two very different things. And that we need to be in that space, that we need to be following a program, not jumping around. We need to dial in, follow a program. That's when we get results. We follow that program, we share what we're doing with people, but we've got to be a part of the product. Otherwise, we're purely selling. We have no other options but to be selling. It just is what it is, right? And then number 3, personal development. I can say that this is something that I struggle with as well, right? Like this is something that the first thing that goes out my guys, can you hold on one second? Sorry. The first thing that goes out when something gets busy for me is my personal development. Honestly, like it is the thing that I struggle with the most, but it is absolutely paramount. This business is about 90% mental. It honestly is. It's where we stand here that makes all the difference in the world. It is so easy to just sit back and get caught up in the comparison game of comparing yourself to one other person or 10 other people or whoever, or just getting like backed up on yourself and like, I'm just not seeing the results that I want to see as quickly as I want to see it, so I must be failing. All these things, it's all mental, right? It's 100% mental. So we need to focus on that tool that is personal development and really strengthen that muscle. It is like the number one thing we can do. I would say in terms of the vital behaviors, in reality, it's probably more closer to number 1. It literally is work here so that you go into your invites with the right mindset, right? And then that you show up and work on your body physically as well, but that still lies behind the original, look, get your mind straight, get this stuff going on. It's hugely important. So if you're not doing those 3 things, you can expect to see the results in your business of not doing those 3 things. So more about personal development. Yeah, it's the idea of, I don't need it. I don't have time. Like it's really easy to say you don't need it. But if you want to know whether or not you need it, look at your business. Because if your business isn't growing, it has to do with the fact that you're not diving into personal development. Personal development doesn't just mean I'm going to work on making myself more confident. Personal development could mean I need to work on being more efficient. So how can I be more efficient? I need to work on learning how to invite people. Well, then how can I do that right? It can be listening to the Monday morning wake up calls and going through, like just learning best practices. Personal development means a bunch of different things to different people. It doesn't have to be one thing. It's just, hey, let me build my confidence. It can be a lot of things, but it needs to be part of your daily routine. B, they're not a product of the product. We've kind of gone through that. And C, the whole idea that they feel uncomfortable personally inviting. So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, guys. If you're uncomfortable with reaching out to people personally, you're going to run into a lot of roadblocks. You're going to make this a lot harder for yourself than it needs to be, right? So we really need to get out of our own way and just understand that people don't see you reaching out to them and saying, hey, I would love to have you join me in doing this. They don't see that the way that we may think they're going to see it. They don't see it as being rude or obnoxious or annoying or whatever. They see it as, well, that's really cool. You thought of me. Thank you. That's how we get responded to, right? And at the end of the day, let's imagine that you reach out to somebody and your heart is truly about, let me change your life. I want to help you and I want to do this together. If that's really where you're coming from in here, is truly about helping somebody and it isn't about, let me sell you, right? If that's where your heart's coming from and they meet you with a response that's super negative and super like just, derogatory and you're a jerk and yada, yada, yada and unfriend me, they don't need to be, they're not in your tribe. They don't need to be around you at all anyway. That's their own thing. It has nothing to do with you. So you get those responses, awesome. I know who to cut out of my Facebook feed, right? Otherwise, everybody else is going to respond positively. It might not be their time. That's okay. But you're not going to get berated with a bunch of crap like you may think you are. We need to step outside of that comfort zone again and grow. Remember that everything you do that's uncomfortable, those are the places that you grow. When you work out, it was an uncomfortable decision to start working out, right? And what happens? You get sore, right? You know that you're seeing a body change when you're sore from working out. Your body is uncomfortable. Guess what? Great things are happening. You're seeing change. Same thing goes with here. You're going to hear it 1,000 times, but it gets back to the idea of personal development. Get your mind straight so that you can understand this is going to be uncomfortable, but I know I can do it, and this is how I'm going to do it. Give yourself the tools. And then the last thing is, they get discouraged and they want to quit because people tell them no. Right? They don't understand that this is a process. We have a saying that we always tell people, and it's just show up next year. Literally, this is 2 years, guys. We're going on to the 3rd year for Deanna and I of like showing up daily, right? Of showing up every single day. We're just now, 2 years later, and that's not true for everybody. Some people are much faster. Some people it takes a little bit more time. But we're just now seeing that snowball start to really gain momentum. Right? It's going to take a time. It's a process. The beauty of Beachbody is in that process, your worst case scenario after that 2 years, 3 years, whatever it looks like, is that you're in better health and you probably impacted some lives. So you just sit back, trust the process, and recognize it's going to take a little time, but it's worth it. And the folks that are consistent and the folks that show up every day, those are the ones that end up being being successful. So it's not going to happen overnight. None of us wanted it to happen overnight anyway, because I guarantee nobody got invited saying, hey, I got a get rich quick scheme. You want to get involved? And you were like, yeah, that sounds rad. That didn't happen. So we all knew it was going to take time. So when it does take time, don't get discouraged. We actually had a little contest. We've done it a couple of times, and I'll probably do it again here pretty soon. In the team page where he said it's a go for no challenge, right? Whoever hears the most no's, whoever sees the most responses of no, not me, not my time, whatever, you're going to win, right? And we're going to give a little prize. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're not hearing no, you're not asking anybody. And if you're not asking anybody, inviting anybody, then you're not helping anybody. Like, that's just how it's going to go. You're going to expect to hear a lot of no's. Recognize that those no's are typically not no. What they are is not right now. Give it a little time. Those people are eventually going to turn around. It just takes them a little time to understand what you're doing and see what you're doing and really get on board. It's not their time now. That's great. But just recognize that you need to see those no's, because in those no's are where you're going to find a yes, right? So if you're not seeing no, then you're just not asking people. So embrace those. Understand that those are part of this, right? They're not telling you no. They're saying no to what they think the program is all about. They're saying no to health in general right now. They're saying no to whatever it is for them that time. They're not telling you no, I don't like you. They're just saying, it's not me right this minute. That is okay. So just rest and understand that it has nothing to do with you or anything personal. It's just about the specific time that you reached out to them, or the specific moment for whatever reason. It's just not their time. But it's nothing personal against you. So just understand it's going to take time to build this. You're going to hear a lot of no's, and that's okay. And in fact, that's good, because the more no's you're hearing, it means you're inviting more people, and that means you're just going to be hearing more yeses as well. So I want to open this up. I'm going to exit out here. I want to open this up. So if you guys have any questions about anything, I would love to hear those questions. Let me go here. Let's see if I can stop sharing. Oh, there it goes. Sorry, I act like I just started doing this. Does anybody have any questions? Raise your hand if you have any questions at all. I know somebody's got, oh, there you are, Elizabeth. What's going on?
So I have a question about the invites. I'm doing them. I'm still not comfortable doing them, and I don't really enjoy them. So I've been getting about 5 in. And so I'm now starting the process, right? Because I wasn't really doing it before. And so when I'm friending people and reaching out to them with my hey girl messages, and I know it depends on the conversations that I'm having with everyone, but like typically how long am I trying to wait to like insert like anything health related, or like some of them I've already inserted a little bit and they're like, oh, that's cool. So I can work with that. But like people that are total strangers that I've never met before and I'm just getting their contacts off other people's, like how long am I like trying to wait and like keep talking to them about non-Beachbody, or you know what I mean?
Totally. And I'll have Deanna chime in on this one as well. I don't personally think there's a specific time that's right for everybody, right? It's really going to be dictated by the conversation and kind of how the conversation goes. One thing that you want to kind of say, push that relationship forward, if you will. First of all, the first interactions, I believe, have nothing to do with Beachbody at all. But when I say that, what I really mean is they have nothing to do with the outcome being about Beachbody.
Right.
So you kind of start back at the very beginning and recognize this conversation that you're having right now, the purpose is not to get to an invite. The purpose is just to build a relationship, just have a conversation, okay? Then your invite can come back around. It might be a month later. You might not talk to the person at all, right? But a lot of the stress will be relieved if you take out the idea or the pressure that I have to get to an invite with this person, because that's coming through in the message whether you recognize it or not. It's going to start getting kind of pushy. So you step back from that and just say, look, my goal right here is I'm just having a conversation. That might end three messages back and forth. I might not say another thing. But then next month, I'm going to look back and go, hey, you know what? You were on my mind, and I was just thinking, I've got this group started. I have no idea if this will be for you or not. But I definitely wanted to invite you. I think it'd be really fun. We're just gonna, focus on some workouts and some really simple nutrition. And I'd love to have the extra accountability. So, is that something that you would like to hear more about? Something really, really simple. Another way, if you are gonna start it about, kind of about Beachbody in the beginning, one thing is if you can get to the idea of what do you do, the probability is they're gonna say, what do you do, right? Like you're gonna say, so what do you do for a living? They're gonna ask you, well, what do you do for a living after they answer it? I always answer that. If I can get them to ask that question, I always answer that with, oh, like I'm a hairstylist, but my wife and I are health and fitness coaches online. It's absolutely my passion. I love helping people hit fitness goals. It's just great, Or, oh, I've just been, I help people, with health and fitness online, and we do that and do a lot of traveling. And it's just fun. If you bring that up, if they're interested, if the conversation should head into immediately to fitness, they're going to ask you about health and fitness. Immediately, they're going to be like, oh, what do you do? What do you mean you do health and fitness? You're going to get something out of that. Otherwise, I would just let it go and just talk about whatever else, and then stop that, shut that down, and then go back and invite them later.
That helps, because I was putting the pressure on, my hey girls need to turn into my invites, but yeah. And not all of them, but yeah, all of the new people that I'm friendly. So
most people do. I mean, like I struggled with the exact same thing. That's exactly what I thought. It wasn't until Deanna brought that up, like, no, just focus on the relationship. I'm like, yeah. So just focus on that now. Deanna, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, that was perfect. You said actually everything. Cause I think Elizabeth, when we had our whale group, I kind of tapped on that a little bit. Like, because I was the exact same way in the beginning, where I was like, oh my gosh, my conversation has to end in Beachbody. Absolutely not. Because all you're doing is you're truly building a relationship. It's truly, truly, truly a relationship business. And that's why I love Beachbody, and I think really sets us apart from any other network marketing thing, because you really have to build a relationship. It's not like, hey, here's this pen. I use this as an example. Okay, this pen is 99 cents. Okay, there you go. Have a nice day. It was like, hey, here's this pen. I'm going to teach you how to use it. And I'm going to teach you how to write with it. And I'm going to teach you different techniques. And then I'm going to learn about you and what you like to write. And then it just grows from there. And that's why I think that I really have a passion for this. And I think it's really important to have a passion for truly helping people, because there is a lot of emotional investment that goes on. So having to really have a heart to help people. But no, absolutely correct. Don't have an end result in mind. Have just loving on people in mind. If your end result is making somebody's day a little bit better, a little bit, happier, making them feel a little good with a compliment, then that should be your goal. And then they're probably going to check you out like, hey, what's this girl all about? I really like her. She compliments me all the time. She's amazing. What is she doing? Oh, look at her jumping around with her kids. How cool is that? And then they're going to be interested. And then next month, when you have your next challenge group, then you, like Justin said, you're going to reach out and you're going to say, hey, you're on my mind. I don't know if it's something you'd be interested in. I'd love to do this together. And
sorry, I want to jump in there. Guys, that's why I say, like, the idea of coaching isn't hard. Like, what we do really, really, really isn't complicated. But I think where people miss it is they don't recognize that it's all one big ball, right? Like, it's all equally important. It's a combination of everything done at the same time that functions. None of these parts can be so it works just like working out. You can't work out and get great results if you're not eating well, right? You have to be working out, you have to be eating well, and then you need the component of accountability, right? Those three things are what create true success. Coaching is exactly the same thing. You're starting relationships and you're talking to them, but if you're not posting online and sharing what's going on and letting people know what you do, then when they go to check out your Facebook page, they're not seeing any of that, so they don't know what you do, right? So it seems weird when you go back and invite them a month later, because what are you inviting me to? It's not that we're doing anything special. Like, it's not that Dion and I do anything special. It's that we do all of those things every day consistently. That's it, right? Like, does that make sense though?
So if I get what you're saying, and I love like reaching out and meeting new people, but then how am I doing my invites? That is kind of confusing, because if I'm not trying to like make that go anywhere towards that, then who am I inviting?
You still invite those people. You just wait a little bit of time until you can invite those people, right? And then
who do I invite tomorrow? And then the next.
I'll chime in on this. So every day you're reaching out to, say, 3 to 5 new people, just starting conversations. Every day you're reaching out to 3 to 5 people. So every day you're going to eventually have people to ask. So you've got people from church that you can, talk to. There's people that like your posts. Those are people you can reach out to. You could say something like, hey, thanks so much for sharing or for showing me a little love on my post. I was feeling really good today, or I was really struggling today. So you reaching out meant a lot. Like, I don't know if you've ever considered doing this, but I'd love to do this together. So that's another way you can reach out. But the more conversations you have now, you're going to get that momentum to always have somebody to reach out to, always have somebody to talk to.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then also, if you don't mind me chiming in real quick too, Elizabeth, you have to remember that one of the things we always want to do too, with Justin and Deanna mentioning, that invite for friend requests, right? How important that is, because realistically speaking, if you have, where'd you go? Your screen just shifted. If you have only, 98 friends and family, I can understand that invite's going to get worn pretty quickly. But again, the idea is to really build your audience, whether, no matter what venue you end up using, whether it's Instagram and or Facebook, that's that subtle, friend request. And then, hey, thanks for accepting my friend request. I love connecting with awesome people. Hopefully you're having a great day. But I use that. Deanna taught me that. Love it. I use it. And probably 7 out of 9 people respond. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Everybody wants to have a great day, right? And I hear people's stories. I hear people go, oh, it's a shitty day, or I just totaled my car, or whatever. I'm like, not my day. But anyway, just kidding. Totally kidding. But what I'm saying is you are building that audience, and it's really, really important. So just as important as the invites are, you have to do that friend request. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions? Everybody's golden.
I have a question.
What's
I'm
up,
just
Jess?
curious because we always talk about the no thing, and I think that it's hard for everybody to remember how many times they said no before they said yes. So I'm curious, just like a show of hands, maybe. How many times did you say no before getting into a challenge group? I mean, I probably put Justin off like 2 or 3 times on price. Okay, yeah, Corey at least.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question? I didn't hear the question.
How many times did you say no for you before you went into the coach opportunity?
1 full year.
Right.
1 full year.
I've probably been talking to Corey for a year. I mean,
Yeah, Megan wouldn't let me
we would
go.
have been talking anyway. But that's why it works, right? Talk to the people you like. I just think it's really easy for us to, as soon as we start, to be like, oh, they all say no, because they all say no. Like, they all say no. The ones that say yes right away don't follow through. I'm sorry, but they don't.
Yeah.
So today, because I reached out to Deanna, because my last few weeks have just been a mess. I've just been all over the place. Not at all like I'm going to quit. Like, that's never happening. But it's just hard to get my routine going, right? So I can attest to that. If you aren't doing those things every single day, things start to slow down, right? I don't know. And you get worried about those no's, but I'll tell you what, every one of you said no. You had to have, or you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. And guys, I'll give you just a really quick little analogy to that we say a lot, and it makes sense, and maybe it'll give you a different perspective. But let's imagine that tomorrow morning you went into a diner for breakfast, right? And you sit down and you order your breakfast, whatever, and the waitress comes over and she goes, "Would you like any coffee?" And you say, "No, thank you." And she leaves, right? And then you come back the next day and she says, same exact thing. You sit down and she goes, "Would you like any coffee?" "No, thank you." Okay, you're saying no to her. You don't dislike her. You're not pissed off that she offered you coffee. You're not upset about the situation at all. There's no attachment there whatsoever. It's just not for you right this second, right? Is she going to stop asking you? No. Every time you walk through the door, probability she's probably going to ask you if you want a cup of coffee, right? We're going to hear no a lot. Maybe one day you're like, you know what? I am in the mood for a cup of coffee. I'm going to have it, right? It just takes the time sometimes for people to kind of come around. But just like you would say no to something you didn't want at the time, it doesn't mean you're saying no to them. It just means that you're saying no to that cup of coffee. That's as deep as it gets. So understand that when you're asking people, when you're inviting people, it's not as deep as we think it is. 99% of the time, just no. I don't want to work out right now. I just feel like watching TV more. Like, I just don't want to do that, right? Like, it's just that simple. Does anybody else have any questions? Nicole?
It's not really a question. It's just basically a segue of what you were saying as well, is that sometimes, because we're human, right? And some of us, or some of those that are coaches, didn't always start out with a great self-esteem, right? Deanna, you mentioned that. You blast that on social media all day long, 24/7. It's about self-esteem, but you're not the same person today as you were 2 years ago when you first started. So as coaches, we continue to grow. But one of the things we have to keep in mind is not to personalize it. You know what I mean? But women, the majority of us here are women. Women, we deal with emotions, we deal with stress, we're moms, we've got kids running around, this and that, whatever the thing may be. But to compartmentalize, put it in a different segue, you're going for that no every single time. And the reality is that sometimes it hurts. I mean, no one wants to be rejected. Remember the boyfriend that said no to you on whatever? I mean, back in the day, if you can think of that and relate that, it's not about you. It was about him saying, no, I'm just not interested because I like blondes. Well, I'm a brunette, not going to work, right? But I'm just saying, if we can, if at all possible, it's not to personalize it. So you go for the no and you go, all right, and now I'm going to move on. But keep in mind that that person that said no also needs a follow-up and continues to need a follow-up. The other thing I was going to mention with that, in my opinion, is not to personalize it, but always keep in mind that if you don't show up, they won't either. So how we're posting, I love the fact, and of course I wrote all my notes, but I love the fact that in the very first thing is that the difference between the two Beachbody posts, not barfing Beachbody. It's crazy, but I will watch something with a Shakeology shake or the workout, whatever. And you can actually scroll through them and you go, aha, that was the month they went and became a coach because they're barfing Beachbody, right? And we all know that. But the thing to keep in mind is that when you are being true to yourself and truly showing up, whether it's a sunset from Francine, whether it's red hair dye from Jessica, I mean, right? It's babies with Elizabeth, whatever your stories are and being genuine, that's really what you have to be. Because when they do go for that no, they're going, oh, wait a minute. These are the people that aren't perfect. These are the people that are still motivating and encouraging. Done, done, and done. Yeah, why wouldn't I want to work with them? You know what I'm saying? So go for the no. Don't personalize it when they say no. And it's harder to do. It's easier to say than actually accept it because you're like, they said no again. They said no again. They said no again. Poor Megan. I mean, she hounded me for a year. I'm like, absolutely not. No, get out of here. Beat it. Scram. Yeah. Thanks, Megan. Thank you, Megan. She's not on, but maybe she'll watch a recording.
Absolutely. Any other questions before I let you guys go to the rest of your night and relax?
I have something, Justin.
What's up,
So
Corey?
in regards to the no's, yes, we get the no's and we get the definite no's and we get all that. What about the maybes? I mean, how do we get them to curve that corner? Because there's so many conversations that I'm having right now that are maybes. And like talking with Jessica, I was like, okay, I'm going to post this call to action and it's going to, for our March group. And I'm so excited and I'm all this. And I keep getting the maybes. And it's like, well, let me think about it. Well, let me think about it. And it's like, how can I just kind of push past that little corner just to get them around it and say, yep, we're going to do it. And then, get them addicted like me. But
I totally hear you. I'm going to let Deanna, she's going to tell you about third-party tools. So I'm going to let you, Deanna, nail that question down because I guarantee that's what she's going to bring up, right?
I actually wasn't, but that is a really good point. So my number one thing, and I've really done this a lot, probably in the last 6 months more than I ever have, and it's been the biggest thing. And we've all heard it as coaches, ask more questions. Just keep on asking questions. And if you're like, hey, do you want to lose weight? And they're like, yeah. And then you're like, awesome, 21-day fix. No. So do you want to lose weight? Yeah. How much weight do you want to lose? What does your nutrition look like right now? What kind of workouts do you do? Do you have any physical limitations? What have you struggled with in the past? What have you done in the past? What do you like to do? How much time do you have? What does your family look like? Do you work or you stay-at-home mom? Like, keep asking questions. Don't ask them all at once because that'll like blow their minds. But I usually ask 1 to 2 questions. And when they answer, here's like, if they're like, I want to lose 10 pounds and, I'm a busy working mom. And I immediately go, you know what? I understand. I work full time too. And I got 2 busy kids. One thing I like about what I do, super quick and easy, fits into the busiest lifestyle. So, and then I ask another question. I'm always relating to them. So if they're like, maybe, I would say, awesome. I totally know you're going to love this. Kind of what are your goals? Like, what do you want to do? And, you can even like, sometimes I will purposely do this where they're talking about their health and fitness. I actually stop that conversation and I ask about something else unrelated because it's showing that you actually care about them. So they're like, yeah, I want to lose all this weight. And you're like, awesome. Oh my gosh. I just saw a picture of your daughter and she is an amazing dancer. Like how long has she been in dance class? Because that's building a relationship. And then they're like, oh my gosh, because who doesn't love to talk about their kids and their family? And then they're like, she's listening to me. She's taking an interest in what I have going on. And then it comes back around. And then you're like, awesome. You know what? I think that goal that you have of this, this, and this is amazing. And this is where after I really have connected with them and really learned what their goals are, and I'm pretty confident in what program is going to work for them, then I use what Justin says as a third-party tool, and it's a video, because I can tell you about this program, but really getting a visual and seeing, oh, you get 30 days of Shakeology, and you get these pretty little containers that show you how to eat, and oh my gosh, the workouts are only 30 minutes. Hey, and there's people that look just like me that are doing the workouts too. How cool is that? And then they're like, yeah, I think that that's something that I want to do. And I've had people say, no, I don't want to do this until I send them the video. And then they're like, I got to have that in my life. And then from there, I'm like, hey, you know what? This is going to be perfect for you. There's actually something new that just came out. It's all access for 1 year. So you have an access to everything. So what I do is I find a program that I think would best fit them, give them that option. And then once they think that, yeah, I'm ready for that, then I give them the option of the all access, because who doesn't want to be able to continue and kind of grow for a year? So that might be long-winded, but that's kind of how I do it.
Does that make sense, Corey?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And I've actually pushed the all access a lot, just because of the fact that it does give them the open options to kind of do whatever and say, hey, you know, you can do this one for 4 weeks and you can do this one. And then if you start this one and you don't like it, you can definitely move into something else that's going to better fit you and your lifestyle and your time constraints and that type of thing.
Right.
So
Dead on.
Yeah, and or don't sell yourself short, Corey. I mean, I'm just chiming in real quick. Guess what? You get me for a whole year. Each month, we're going to specialize your program to make it make sense, because guess what? As you drop the weight, your body's going to be changing. You're going to want to change up your workout, right? Right. You know, along those lines, something. Maybe not so over animated. Sorry, I've been having a little fun. But you know what I mean, along those lines, right? Yeah. Right. Don't sell yourself short, right? Deanna and Justin always teach and preach. Best thing out of the box is you.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing out of the box is you as a coach, right?
Right.
Yeah, love it.
Absolutely. Does that help, Corey? Do you have any other questions that you? You good? Anybody else have any questions that are bothering you, or just anything to say? Period.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, so I have 18 challenge packs out. The link, everything. 18. I've been chatting. I've been talking. I've been going for the no. I've gotten people to say, I'm waiting for my tax return. I have to talk to my husband. Oh, I haven't looked at it yet. I mean, everything. And of course that never phases me. But yet, reality is I got nothing on the books. I mean, absolutely nothing. Nothing. And so I'm like, I know it's going to come. You know, I'm just open-minded. It will come through. It'll all make sense. But I don't, you know, I'm doing the follow-ups where I hope you got my email. Did you have any questions? Or, hey, you know, that starts soon. We definitely want to make sure that we get that, you know, that order in. I still have your spot reserved. Everything I'm trying to say to make it make sense, they're still on the, you know what I mean? And I can go in through my actual app to see that some have started. Absolutely, some have started. I think there's like 9 that have started. No completions, not a one. 18, nothing.
That's awesome, though.
That's
awesome, though. Because I know it's frustrating, but those 18 are people that you already know are interested. They're just on the verge. So those are 18 people that will end up taking action this month. There are 18 people that will end up taking action the next month, the next month, the next month, the next month. That's like that. That's like challenge. I hate this. I don't even want to say this. Challengers in the bank, if you will, right? Like that's like awesome. I've got somebody that's probably going to, you know, at least you got them past the hardest part. Hardest part is getting to the point where they even want to listen, right? Like, once you're past that, now they're open. It just might be, hey, they're actually waiting for the tax return or whatever. At least you got those conversations open and those people are ready to go. They're like interested. All right, cool. I think it's a great.
I guess my question is, I mean, because reality is, right, there was a huge deadline for Diamond. I wanted this freaking coat. It literally is on my board. I own that coat in my size for Diamond. And, you know, you get kind of excited, then you start counting the chickens before they hatch and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, no big deal. And I'm going to continue to keep the motivation going. I'm going to continue to yada, 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 right? But literally speaking, I mean, I am just like chomping at the bit. I don't know. I follow up. I don't know what to say. And I'm kind of giving them a little taglines, you know, make sure we're drinking our water, you know, until your box arrives and whatever. But, you know, make sure you're moving 30 minutes a day. But realistically speaking, I don't know what the next follow-up is. I mean, and if you ask me, I can go down the line at every single one of those 18 people, 3 to 4 follow-ups. And I'm getting excuse after excuse. And I just keep. So I'm moving on to the next. I'm just going to continue. I'm got them in the bank. Nothing's cashed.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna miss out on a beautiful jacket.
Babe, what were you gonna jump in on?
So I have a couple recommendations of things
Yes, please.
I've done in the past. So one thing would be go and comment on something on their personal page and ask a question.
Yeah.
So that way it's kind of, you're creating that relationship with them without kind of hounding them about that side. One thing, and I was telling Jessica about this today, offer an incentive. Like if I'm on a deadline, I'm like $25 Amazon gift card for anybody that purchases. That's just kind of my incentive. So you can buy some color or some containers, prepping containers, whatever. I'm like, this is a special offer for you.
Love it.
Because then you can just email the gift certificate. Another thing that I do, and I really make sure that I stick to it so that I'm genuine, is I'm like, hey, you know what? I only have 5 spots left in my group. So come up with the amount that you're comfortable with, like really saying, I will only take 5 more and stick to that.
Okay.
And then just reach out to them, say, hey, you know what? I only have 5 spots. I only have 4 spots. I only have 3 spots left. And I didn't want to leave you out. Is this something that you're still considering? Because I'd love to, have your spot. And then there's people that don't respond back to me. I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, just to let you know, my group's full this month, but I will have another one next month. So I'll keep you in the loop. And then it kind of gives that like,
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let me just recap if you don't mind real quick. So you're kind of tossing out a little incentive, right? Something that can go Amazon, inexpensive meal prep. I mean, they're like 13 for like 16. Got it, done. You're also going into saying, hey, I have 3, 4, 5 spots left, or 5, 4, 3, whatever. And then the other thing was that you're basically touching bases with people that say, hey, just to let you know, all my spots have been taken. They are full, but I'd love to give you that incentive for next month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course, and that is the one thing that I have been doing is the very first thing you had mentioned was touch bases with them, non-Beachbody, non-challenge. And I am, and you know what? There's a lot of cute kids out there, and I'm over it. I'm like, how old's your baby? Oh my God. Sorry. Okay. I would look like a really creepy baby lover right now if you read all my comments, which is fine. I love kids. I have kids, right? I mean, absolutely. But okay. Thank you. All good. Love it.
That's awesome. Anybody else have any questions?
And you guys, I love that you guys are so open and willing to ask questions, because I know it can be scary. But like I tell people now, I actually ask way more questions now, being a coach 2 years, than I did when I was a brand new coach, because I was scared to look silly or, oh, that's a really stupid question. Like everybody would know that. Now I ask every single question, and I know a lot more, but I know that I don't know everything. And so I need to get to that next level. I need to ask those questions and be coachable and be teachable. So that you guys are comfortable with asking, I think is amazing, and shows awesome growth, because really truly we do fail our way forward. We try to see if something works. If not, we switch it up. If it does work, awesome, we keep doing it, maybe tweak it a little bit. So good job, everybody.
Oh, you're so sweet. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hit up Megan to see if I can't get Jessica to get me a coach. I just moved my diamond deadline like 4 or 5 days. That's it. I'm so mad. And it is what it is, right? It was so funny because Francine, who's a sweetie, oh, that's right, girl, I put you on blast. I was like, what? She goes, well, you'll be diamond when it's meant to be. Which means it'll be soon. That's all that means. That's all. I didn't take it negative. Nothing. I got you. I got you.
And guys, like Justin has talked about before, like we don't hit all of our goals. Like I can't tell you how many times that like we're at our quarterly bonus and we lose it the day before. Like that's happened like at least twice. And I'm just like, the first time I was like, I like pouted about it for literally like 10 seconds. I just went, oh, really? And then I'm like, well, there's always next time, because it's kind of out of your control, and you kind of, but it's definitely, I mean, if you take it as a positive and use it as a growth and learning experience, then it's all worth it. And then when your team grows, you can say, I was right there with you. I had the exact same thing. I had this goal. I didn't reach it, but I didn't give up.
Oh, that's such a great point. Love it.
Absolutely. All right, folks. I don't want to cut this short, but I'm going to cut this long, but I'm going to let you guys go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, I appreciate you all so much for being here. I know we are all busy, so thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate your time. You all have a fantastic Wednesday evening, and we will see you guys very soon. Okay, everybody? Good night, everyone.